here's a movie that is basically a one-person role, and so in terms of funding, I would assume this would be a very difficult. I don't know. Was this an easy movie for you to get money to get made, or was it? Did you feel like it was actually like a?
Well, for some reason, I was never scared about the premise of the film. I should have, but I was not. Actually, that's what attracted me. What attracted me is that it was an impossible film in objective terms. So it was nonsense. It was foolish, but it was foolish enough to attract my attention. So, actually, from the very first moment, I saw that this should be a big film because size of stories has not to do with cubic inches, has to do with the story itself. If it evolves, if it changes, if you need to know what's going to happen next, and that happened in this script, and I saw the possibility of doing something literally never done, and that's a gift for a director. No matter how scary you are, actually, the more scary you are, the more you can know that you are in the right way.
Then what is it about Ryan that you felt was the perfect choice for something like this? Because this is also a little bit out of the box for him, if you want to.
Yeah,
in the box, but out of the box. You know, like.
Yeah, you're right. I saw him in The Nines 3 years ago by John August, a film that about 15 people in the world have seen. And thank God he was one of them because he has a terrible distribution. But I discovered there, first, a film full of intelligence and an actor so sensitive and able to describe and show the most committed and deep emotions with very small things. And that's a gift for a director. Not only the way an actor cries or the way he yells, but the way he stays, the way he listens, the way he holds a glass. And at the same time, an actor with a perfect sense of timing, an alien sense of timing, actually. And when you are going to do a movie with just three elements, you have to need a perfect control of nuance, because every detail is going to count. The devil is in the details, and you need a perfect control of pace and need perfect control of musical rhythm. And with Ryan, you have Mozart there inside the box.
Is it true that he ad-libbed a lot during this, or was this actually was this very close to what was written on the page, or was he given a room to kind of react in a way that felt natural to him, and was it nice?
No. This is basically the script Chris wrote. We were very, very faithful to it. But of course, Ryan's emotions are organic, are real, are happening there. Because you cannot catch him lying. Never. He never acts. He always is. He's a Stradivarius. He can do whatever. He's a killing machine. And actually, he can break your heart, being totally organic, move you, and at the same time, he can auto-light himself with a flashlight, rebounding it on the right side of the ceiling of the roof of the coffin, giving you the right angle to the camera and avoiding the sun for 2 inches. And when you have 2 new instructions for the next take, he simply will look at you and say, okay. So, as I tell you, it's a killing machine. And he didn't want to rehearse. He wanted to figure out everything at the same moment and rhythm that Paul Conroy, his character, did. So many times we're using the take number 1, and we rarely use 4 takes. And everything he discovers inside a coffin, he's facing it at the same time that his character is doing.
Now, I heard that there were 7 coffins. Is that true? And is it true that there were names for them? Were there any favorite ones that you enjoyed working with the most?
No, you're right. We had 7 different coffins with 7 different names for 7 different needs. The one that we used more was called the Joker, but there was nothing funny about it. But it still was called the Joker. We had also the 360. We have the well. We have the tunnel. We have the farewell. We have a lot of numbers for in order to achieve impossible shots. So, for instance, sometimes there's even a shot when the camera describes a 360 dolly shot around the actor inside a box, which is, of course, impossible. So we designed and built a box with collapsible walls we could take out and place in while the camera described the circle. So everything you see in front of the lens is right. You see the actor very close to the lens, and the right wall in the opposite side, but before you realize, you are in the other angle of his body and you're still seeing the right wall on the other side, and you wonder, how did it do it? It's not possible. And actually it was happening in real time. We didn't use CGI. We didn't shoot it with green screen and high contrast notes. That's why the film is so touchable, so physical, because everybody's perceiving that everything's happening. Everything that you see is happening to Ryan, actually happened to him, including being covered by tons of sand, even the friction of his skin on the rough wood. We sent him back to LA with his back bleeding, with his fingers literally fried because of the heat of the lighter, with his skin totally destroyed because of the friction with the wood. Yeah, it was really, really tough to him, and also in emotional terms, because he develops all the human catalog of extreme emotions, from primal fear to panic to joy to anger, hope, surrender, accepting, frustration, you name it. This guy is a Stradivarius.
To be able to prepare for what he was going to go through, is it true that you asked him to take one of the coffins home to practice? Is that like a
No.
true, is that a rumor, or is that like
That's
a,
probably an urban legend. I never told him to take a coffin home.
Last question then. You know, you said he's like a monster, and he's so like, all these terms. So in a way, he's like a superhero, and he is going to be playing a superhero. So if you can kind of describe the characters that he's playing in this one, and maybe in his upcoming film, would there be like, what are the similarities? What is this element of super, kind of powerness that?
Well,
Ron
actually, the
brings
most
to the
interesting part of this film was that he's not a superhero at all. He's a blue collar. He's a normal man that has to face extraordinary situations. That's why people feel so committed with him, because they have to try to figure out what they would do in his predicament. And actually, since they perceive him as a real guy, they think, yeah, I could be in that predicament. That's why the empathy exists from the very first minute.